Hello everybody, today we're here to review Alien Romulus. Yeah, thanks for coming out. And with me I have a very special guest. Please welcome the Xenomorph himself, Xenomorph.
Hi everybody.
We can't wait to talk to you today about the movie, how much we enjoyed it, what we thought.
You gonna talk about how all the cast is like a Disney Channel original?
I don't think the age of the cast should matter that much. I mean, come on, it's...
And you're not gonna also talk about the ending?
Well, I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody.
But everybody online's talking about how bad parts of the ending are.
What they do in the end helps to represent all parts of the franchise, right?
But don't you think it's kind of weird and a bastardization and terrible reminder of what came before?
I wouldn't go that far. I enjoyed it. Like, what? How many other complaints do you have?
As a collective representation of the internet, the answer would surprise you.
Are you sure you want to do this?
And today, finally, we have Alien Romulus. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm going to be extremely biased going into this review. I have not tried to disguise this at all, and I have made no small thing of my love and adoration for the Alien series and franchise as a whole. I did a trailer reaction video for the first primary main story trailer that dropped a few months back. Without spoiling the movie, I might have a spoiler section in this because I just want to talk about all this so badly. There are definitely moments in the trailer that fan theories were correct about, and that, funny enough, a lot of my theories were also correct on. So let's get into it. For those that don't know, Alien Romulus is the latest film to be made in the Alien universe and franchise. To gear up for this one, I did get together with some of mi amigos. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that we had to split it into two parts, but we had a full Alien marathon with all the primary canon.
What's going on?
You want some? You want some Ripley? You want to know? Okay. Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Prometheus, and Alien Covenant. But Alien Romulus takes place between the events of the first Alien movie and the second Alien movie. So between Alien and Aliens. There's plenty of timelines you can find online. You can find full story narrative recaps. You can find deep dives. You can find videos talking about the philosophy behind Alien, yada yada yada. For those that don't know, Alien Romulus is the latest directorial film by director Fede Alvarez. I love this guy. I don't recall if I reviewed Don't Breathe. You go far enough back, he did the soft kind of reboot / remake 2013's Evil Dead, which I personally, really love. I love it. And he also did Don't Breathe, which turkey basters aside, I love the movie. Who am I kidding? That's a great scene too. We have a small ensemble cast, but really the only ones you're going to give much of a shit about and the ones that you might know. I would say, debatedly, there are two leads. The one, for sure, is our lead, who's been showing up in more and more. Kaylee Spaney is our lead protagonist in this, with, in my opinion, a killer name of Rain Carradine. I don't know why it sounds so sci-fi. I most recently covered her as she was one of the primary leads in A24's Civil War that came out earlier this year. And then when I was referencing Civil War, I talked about how she was also in Priscilla, where she played Priscilla. And then I went back even further, giving her props to her role in Bad Times at the El Royale, because that's an underrated little gem that I always recommend people give a watch. Say whatever you want about the rest of her friends and associates, but I would say the other lead of the film is her little robo bro, if you will. And it's not a spoiler, you can tell in the trailer that he's an android. But in any case, actor David Johnson, who it says he's been acting since 2017, but really only in television and TV series roles. This is only the second movie he's ever acted in, aside from another film called Rye Lane. Aside from Kaylee Spaney, he was my other favorite character in this film. I think he's one of the highlights of it. Anyway, I'm getting too caught up in the finer minutia of it, so I'm sure you're very curious to see what old MovieMan thinks, because I would consider myself a mega fan of the series. Again, the trailer reaction video alone should have plenty of damning evidence and information to support that. Personally, I've seen it once so far in IMAX opening night. I loved the experience. I loved it. I don't think it's my favorite, but I think I'd put it in top 3 or 4 maybe. Literally, the time that I'm recording this, I'm going to be seeing it a second time in 4D tomorrow night, but I want to see it at least 3 or 4 times in theaters and just absorb it as much as I can. I am going into this with an inherent bias, to the point where I think my bias does affect my review. This rarely happens, but in cases like this, it's like Evil Dead or something. I'm just pleased as punch. I'm just super grateful to be able to get any new entries into this universe and then the lore and all that, and I'll support it financially any way that I can. As you saw earlier, I paid money for one of the popcorn buckets. In fact, I paid money for 2 of the popcorn buckets. Let me give it the I got the other one, the Weyland-Yutani glowy boy with the face hugger on the outside. So I paid for popcorn buckets. I got the little ceramic collectible Regal cup that was being sold at the bar. I paid for the little alien-themed cocktail. I'm all in, man. Anything I can do to financially show the corporate overlords and investors that I am down to clown when it comes to another Alien movie. I love the aesthetic. Fede and crew absolutely nailed the aesthetic of the film. It's that perfect blend of especially in the first 2 Alien movies, that kind of retro sci-fi kind of, it's all future tech, but it's kind of still like grungy and dirty, and just definitely just used, just all very like the human element is always prevalent, but it's those hard plastics and ceramics, but at the same time like high-tech sci-fi equipment built into all this. Literally, whether it's the ships they fly around in, whether it's the space station's interior, the world building, space in this film is gorgeous. Not only is the direction in this film beautiful, and the lighting and shadows and the sets and all this all practical at every waking moment and turn wherever it possibly can be, but when we are in space and we might have to incorporate digital or other elements like that, space in this movie, as I'm sure you saw from the trailer, again, visually stunning. The color palettes, the direction, the cinematography, they nail the vibe and the aesthetic. Homage to the franchise in general through music is done too. This film has its own music and score and unique beats that no other Alien film prior to this has had, but at the same time, whenever there's clear references or homages to certain elements of other films, whether it's a reference to Alien, whether it's reference to Prometheus, anything from the Alien universe, little bits of those themes, or there'll be music scenes, they incorporate that into kind of like what Ghostbusters, what like Afterlife and such did, or whenever these rebooted movies show up and they kind of like sneak in elements of the old soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, we're all pretty dang special down here. On a personal note, I thought that we had busted up for good.
Like Furiosa, mixing in elements of Fury Road. A+. Practical effects, of course. I mean, it's been a massive part of this film's marketing push for the last few months, is to showcase the fact that like they got people in suits, they got practical heads they made and custom prosthetics, and so you can tell so much of this movie's budget went into practical little face huggers. They're actually real physical guys, and all the effects they try to do and the violence that occurs on screen, when it can be, it's practical blood or guts. Bravo, I love it so much. Can't get enough of it. Feels so real, and I always love it. I'm on my soapbox about it. I always love it when a film uses practical effects and really just puts in the love and the care and the attention to detail, and just the pure love for the craft just oozes through the screen based on the quality of all these aliens and the sci-fi environments. And again, all these sets and set designs and set pieces, it's all wherever they were able to just physically build it, they did, and it's great. The characters are almost all smart and resourceful, which is a breath of fresh air. And I'm not saying they all are. There's some dummy-dums in this movie still, but typically you watch your horror movies or survival horror movies, and your whole cast of characters are idiots.
Are you idiots trying to kill me?
Even rewatching Prometheus and Covenant, more so in Prometheus, as much as we all like that movie and enjoy it, which I'm in the camp of, I like all the Alien movies, 3 probably being like the weakest one. Prometheus, I really enjoyed the movie, I love certain elements of it, but man, are the people in that movie stupid. For being scientists, stupid. In this movie, there's still some occasional stupid decisions made out of fear or just, ignorance, but for the most part, the cast of characters we have in this movie are actually pretty resourceful and creative. The creativity, we're going to segue gracefully into this. The creativity in this movie, oh my god. Utilizing elements of pre-existing lore and just different facets of the world and of the world of aliens, being able to get new creative set pieces or ideas or moments or even narrative, like lore and story. This movie has so much creativity in it, in its narrative and in its writing, that I just loved, and it was just things that we never thought we'd see on screen, or we'd even think somebody else would think of to do, then somebody did it, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. That was really smart what they did. Wow, what a creative little, moment, or like a sequence of events. Brilliant in-universe lore references, tie-ins, tasteful callbacks. I thought they were all tasteful. I know some of the fan base disagrees with that, but the same ones that when they talk about Resident Evil or Silent Hill, they're purists and they're like, oh, only the original stuff is really good and what matters. And I'm not look, I can recognize quality and lack of quality. Is it like a perfect experience? Perhaps not, but the things that I'm hearing fans complain about online, I'm just like, no.
I disagree.
That being said, I do have a couple complaints, just a couple complaints. My friends didn't love, they thought the weakest part of the movie was its characters, and I partially agree. I think we all agreed that Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson's characters, respectively, are the highlights of the film, the best part. The other characters, they feel like they're just kind of there to just die, eventually, or just to be there to just pad the crew. I wish that either the cast was larger, or I wish the characters were a bit more developed. For a movie that's 1 minute shy of 2 hours, I feel like maybe if it was 2.5 hours and we built onto the characters some more, that would have worked out even better for everybody. I mean, there was one character that I just couldn't stand because he was a dick, and that's all well and good.
There's something in the water.
What do you mean there's something in the water?
No, there's just something in the fucking water.
And then the rest of them were fine. I didn't hate them. I sympathized with their plot and why they were up. The whole reasoning for why they went to this station to go do what they're gonna do, it makes sense. And it's, is it the smartest idea? No, but in this world of dog eat dog and all that, yeah, you kind of have. You have to make your own way. Characters might be the weakest part of this film. I will admit, as much as I love it when people die on screen, and I appreciate they're not afraid to kill off younger characters as well, but that being said, when people start dying, people drop like flies in this movie, and I just would have liked there to have also been a little bit more time or odds of survivability, or for the trailer to not give away basically 3 of the deaths that you see, which segues once again into my final point here, which is my only other con. I think the marketing of this film revealed a little bit too much. It's a big complaint of mine in general, and I get it. If that's what the cost of it is, right, to get butts in seats, to spread the word to everybody from me who already knew about it, 6 months ago, to Farmer Joe Brown out on his farm in Idaho, if the mass amount of marketing is what it takes to get people to see it, hear about it, come in and support it in theaters, then sure, I get that, but I had to stop looking at marketing for a time because, like any other movie, like Deadpool and Wolverine or like Cuckoo, any of these movies, I'm glad you're showing the behind the scenes and showing how the film was made and showing why people would be interested in seeing this and capitalizing on certain markets and trying to appeal to these demographics, but I'm pretty sure you can do that without spoiling entire sequences of the film before we've even gone to see the film. It's my biggest critique, which is just that the characters in this movie are kind of on the weaker side, and the trailers reveal way too much in regards of what's probably gonna happen. Yeah, here's the honest truth to it, right? If I wasn't an Alien fan, I would probably give this film a high 4 out of 5. But seeing as I am a mega Alien fan and I'm going off of personal enjoyment, quality of a film is up there, if not for a couple minor detractions. But for me personally, with my being a fan, I would give it Alien Romulus a low 5 out of 5. A low 5 out of 5, but I recognize that if I was not an Alien fan, I would still really have enjoyed the movie, but it would have been closer to like a high 4 out of 5. And quick little spoiler talk, by the way, because the main complaints that I'm hearing online from like crybabies and such is that people are saying the cast is too young. Oh, it's like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon TV show vibes. For one, if you look into their ages, they're not too far off from the ages of the cast members of like Aliens, real talk. But even then, people counter back and say, oh, but they look super young, like baby face, or like kids or whatever. And I say, so what? Does every Alien film have to have these grizzled old scientists and, you know, corporate CEOs and these like middle-aged people being the action stars? Like, I think to give us a film, change it up. You have a group of kids or just young adults that are trying to survive in this world and like get their way off planet and scavenge and do what they have to do so. Like, I don't see a problem with the cast being younger. What bothers me is people will be online and they'll say, oh, movie was awesome except for that last little, you know, section with you got a little bit of Prometheus in my Alien movie. Because people are so quick people love hating on Prometheus and Covenant. I like what they did. I thought that genetic abomination that shows up in the final act was the nature of the situation, was an homage to Alien, clearly, and then just the whole mano a mano fight was kind of an homage to just so many different things. But I loved how they incorporated the black goop that we established in Prometheus and Covenant, and that came back around to create that genetic monstrosity that shows up in the end of Act 3. I liked that sequence. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was horrific. And then sure enough, don't worry guys and gals, we blasted that guy out into space, so you don't have to worry about him showing up again in the future. I didn't have any complaints regarding that, but people are just like itching, like looking for things to like hate about this movie and such. But no, I love how serious of a threat they made facehuggers in this movie. I love like the zero gravity blood scene in that one section, and then, you know, robots little get away from her you bitch moment, and all these different little moments. I thought they were great. Again, very creative, very fun, horrific. Did it lack the intensity of some of the previous Alien films? A little bit sometimes, but end of the day, I really, really enjoyed it. I would say I loved most of it. Can't wait to see it again, and I really hope we get more Alien films in the future, especially if they forward the timeline. I also hope that the conversation between Fede and the director of Prey might allude to another AVP movie in the future. That'd also be cool stuff. Those are my thoughts and opinions, long-winded though they may be, on Alien Romulus. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. And goodbye, travelers.